Hey, this is Sparklestorm, and welcome to my new zoo. I am super excited to share this with you today, so thank you very much for being here. This is the Seven Continent Zoo, or 7CZ for short, and as the name indicates, in this zoo there will be animals from all seven continents. Now, this would have been kind of difficult with only the base game, which is what I made my first zoo with, but after finishing the Swinging Vine Zoo and obviously being completely obsessed with this game, I bought all of the packs. So now there should be lots of animals to choose from. So, just a little backstory if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, I started playing Planet Zoo in January of this year after losing my Sims 4 save file that I had been playing on for years. And I was pretty upset about that, but then my niece recommended that I try Planet Zoo, and it quickly became my new favorite game. When I started playing, I had no intention of posting videos on YouTube, and I had never done anything like this before. But my daughter suggested that I share my rebuilds, and she was really persuasive and encouraging. So I started this channel. And that was about mid March. And so, if you'd like to watch my progress over the past 4 months, you can check out my Swinging Vine Zoo videos. And that brings us up to today and my second Sandbox Zoo in Planet Zoo. All right, so we are starting out in the parking lot, and this is an area that I'm actually really happy with. But right behind me is an area that I am really unhappy with. So, this location, this zoo, is set in the middle of a mountain range. And so, my idea for the guests to access the zoo was to create a mountain just at the edge of the playable area here and have the guest spawners inside the mountain so the guests could spawn there and enter through this tunnel. But I can't get this mountain to look right. And from the back, it looks even worse because it is right up against the buildable area border, so it just kind of cuts off flat. And then the other problem with this was the people would spawn and just walk straight down this main street into the zoo, so it just didn't really look right. So I'm not really sure what to do with that section. Maybe you could help me out and let me know in the comments. Should I try to build it up with a bunch of rocks to make it look more realistic, or should I just flatten it and have my road go off into nowhere? Or maybe there is a third option if you have something more creative than I can think of to solve this problem. Please let me know in the comments. So I'm just gonna walk through my parking lot here. I'm sorry I can't have it in play mode because it is just really, really laggy. And I think it's because I've added all of these cars and coach buses and tour buses and things to my parking lot, which make it look fantastic, but I think the piece count is just way too high. I'm thinking that's what's causing it to be laggy because my game has never really been glitchy or laggy up until now. And over here, you can see all of these cars that I've added to the parking lot all look really great because prior to this I had all Jeeps. The entire parking lot was all Jeeps, and I'm sure there are a lot of Jeeps in this area being that it is in the mountains, but not that many, so it looks much better now. These are all from a car and coach park blueprint, and I will list all the blueprints in the details. This one is by Sarah Moore, 1991, who put together a pretty cool car and coach park. But some of the vehicles are actually I found separately by a creator named DarthDelicious. So not all of them, but some of them. So I'm not actually sure who created all of these cars. So I'm sorry that I cannot credit everyone who made these cars. These are incredible. I could never make something like these, so I'm going to really try to only include blueprints of things that I can't make myself, and this would definitely be in that list. These are amazing. So I have my spawners over here, and If you're up close, it doesn't look great. They are just materializing out of these rocks, but from the front entrance, it looks pretty neat to have the guests coming from the parking lot down this path and into the zoo that way. I don't know why they won't use this path over here. So I do have another spawner over here. Oh, I've got my solar panel to power all of the lights in the parking lot. So you can see I do have another spawner right here, and they spawn there, but then they walk straight across here and they take a sharp right here. They don't follow this pathway, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe they are programmed to take the most direct route to the gates, but for whatever reason they just head this way. So I wish they would go this way and I could see some of the people down on this path, but c'est la vie. So over here I will take you to the entrance. We've got some statues over here. I've seen this in a few zoos, and I just love having these statues, kind of walking along with the guests into the zoo. So we've got some elephants on this side, and on this side over here we have some flamingos. And then in the middle we've got some penguins, and I thought, you know, people would want to take pictures with all of these statues. With these ones, the kids can climb right up on top and hug a penguin to get their photo taken with these little cuties. We have a lot of this area has these perennial plants that are growing just kind of wild, so they would take very little maintenance. And how I filled in all of these spaces is I just created a small area that I liked the combination of, with plants of varying heights, and then I just copied that section and filled in all of this area by duplicating it. Over here though, we have a couple of beds with some anyway, annual flowers, so they would require more maintenance by the gardener. But I think we just have the two here, and the rest is all of these perennials. So another place I thought kids might climb up on. Growing up, I had these huge rock sheets just like this in my yard, and we love to climb all over those and play. So that's not gated or fenced off so that people can just walk right across there. Mostly children, but I guess anybody. I guess I would still actually like to do that. So then we've got parking lot 2 over here, some signage to show you can exit this way or go into parking lot 2. So this isn't fantastic. Obviously people are just streaming right through this divider in the parking lot and right through these cars, but we just won't look closely at these. Over here we have a few more blueprints that I thought were really, really cool. A bus, of course. I can't tell if my wheels are in the ground here. I might need to move this up. A school bus, of course, because school bus tours, yep, we're in the ground. Pretty regular at the zoo. We also have a few of these zoo tour buses. I imagine these would go to, they don't tour our zoo, but they would go out to kind of distant areas to pick up people who maybe can't get here them on their own, to bring them to the zoo. And so this bus was created by a creator named Keyboard Keeper, and these tour buses were made by McFly. Very cool. I, again, could never make something like this, so I'm using these in my parking lot because they look amazing. I love this little car with a bike on top. I don't know who built this. This was in the park, the car and coach park, by Sarah Moore, but I'm not sure if that player was actually the creator of that car. All right, so over here, got some signage around the parking lot, some stop signs, directional signs. We have our bus, our city bus. So now this bus would just be the regular city bus that would tour around in the inner city and bring people. This would be just one of its stops, one of its regular stops. We've got our little bus stop here, a little bit of coverage to keep a little bit of the weather off, and then we're back here. So for this next portion of the video, instead of adding a speed build, which I think would just be way too long or way too speedy, because these builds are taking me so much longer than the Swinging Vine Zoo rebuilds, I think I have a different idea for how to share some of the things that I've made. So I am going to pick just a few items that I created and take them apart and show you how I made them. So please let me know in the comments if you like this style of video or if you prefer to see the speed build, even if it's just parts of the speed build. So in the middle here, I'll show you what I had before I built this pond. So I just had this open space and it just looked really bare. It needed something. And so I thought a little pond would be perfect for this space. So I grabbed the glass barrier, just created a kind of a wavy shape, filled it with water, and then I grabbed the barrier and selected the entire barrier, and used this tool just to lower the barrier to just about the water level. I wish it came all the way down to the water level. The water's right about here, but I have yet to learn how to get that to line up. So it's just a little bit above the water, but it's not too bad. So then from there, I just added some rocks to cover up all of the glass barrier. Added some greenery inside. Oh, I'll make it play for you here so you can see. Added some jets to make it like a little fountain in the pond. Some cattails and other things inside, lily pads, and then outside we just have the kind of wild shrubbery that is consistent with the rest of this area. So something else that I want to show you is all of the markings on the ground, on the pavement here, are these primitive rectangles. So these are the rectangle 3 just turned on its end and sunk into the ground using the advanced move tool, and then colored yellow for the middle lines of the road. And then these are other primitive rectangles. So this is number 2, size 2. Flat, and the triangle as well, laid flat on the ground to make the arrows. So also these are made with the larger primitive rectangles, number 5. So over here I bordered my entire parking lot with flower beds. So I want to show you how I made this one. So this was probably the first thing that I made like this. So looking back on it, I definitely would do things differently now. So I'll just take it apart for you. First, it is grouped together. So I'm going to enter group edit mode. I'm going to grab one of these, use the M key on my keyboard to move it out. Little fence. This is just the Planet Zoo fence. And then I created the border here of the flower bed, just with more of these, whoops, grabbed a fence instead. Oh, I guess I better move that out of the way. Just with more of these little primitive rectangles. And the plants, of course, went in last, but before I did that, I put in some soil, and clearly this was before I knew that there was mulch in the game. So a very early example of trying to use these pieces in different ways to make it work for what I was trying to build. So as I said, I would make this completely differently now. And oh, I'll show you the end piece as well. Just that half circle. Okay, and then in the middle of the parking spaces, I have a an updated version, a later version of a flower bed that I built using these little wall pieces, breeze block column 2. I think there's actual mulch in here. Yes, I believe there is. Yep. Mulch patches, flowers, and then some lampposts as well. And I actually have this blueprint, this as a blueprint, the middle garden divider and all of these lines. So I can share that in the workshop if anyone is interested in making this tiny little, or using this tiny little section. You could use it to make a big parking lot. Over here, I forgot to mention in the tour this little blueprint. This is by a creator named Nowo-owon, and it's a great little blueprint for the parking lot. Oh, nice. Okay, so I also wanted to show you this stop sign. Grab this and move it out here so we can have a look. All right, we've got concrete pillar base, signpost, and the stop sign itself is made with the tiny primitive triangles, just flipped around, and a rectangle to expand it. It wasn't big enough when I just used the 3 triangles to make the trapezoid shape. I really like my little bus stop over here as well. This piece is a game piece. I did not make this. This is the classic arbor canopy and the arbor arch half window, and just a piece of concrete, actually 2 concrete panels. However, I did make this bench, so I'll show you. Oh, if I can grab it, I will show you how I did that. Bring it out here. Okay, so we've got on the end, we've got, let me just grab some and show you. These are the painted metal rod thin curve and the painted metal rod thin 1 meter. These, and just recolored to gray. And then for the bench seats and backrest, I am using the Planet Zoo Vent 3. So that's it for this section of the zoo. Thank you so much for watching. If you are liking my creations, please subscribe so you don't miss any of my future posts. And next time, we have a couple of options here. What would you like to see? We can head through the gates here and see some of these ticket counters. We've got a gift shop over here we can check out. Inside we have a restaurant over here. We've got administrative offices up here and a VR experience up here. So just, yeah, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. Thanks again for watching, and bye for now.